This is a particularly unfortunate Supreme Court ruling that just came down, and it goes back to a case that started in 2010. In 2010, a 15-year-old by the name of Sergio Hernandez was playing a game with his friends in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, when a U.S. Border Patrol officer, Jesus Meza, shot him in the face, killing him instantly. So Meza fired from El Paso, Texas, on the American side of the border into Mexico. In court, he claimed that the teenage boy had attacked him, pelting him with stones, and he feared for his life.
Of course.
Video footage of the incident, however, clearly contradicted his account. Meza had caught one of Hernandez's friends and, while apprehending him, shot Hernandez twice as he ran away. Yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that the deceased child's family could not sue the U.S. for damages, effectively setting a precedent that American officials can kill with impunity. The investigation ruled that Meza had indeed acted in self-defense when he fired through the militarized U.S.-Mexico border. Like many Supreme Court rulings, the decision was split down the liberal-conservative lines, with the new Trump appointees Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh carrying the day to the 5-4 decision. This is unacceptable. I wonder if this breaks international law. I mean, you shouldn't be able to have law enforcement agencies of any capacity, from military all the way down to local authorities, given the ability to inflict harm upon someone across a border and then deny the family or deny individuals associated with that, the victim, any recourse into finding out what happened, to having any kind of suit, to having any kind of reparations, to basically cutting them off. It does, as this article says, it gives impunity to officers to do this, to inflict this kind of violence. What this article also mentions is this is not an isolated incident. This has happened before with numerous times. This is the kind of thing, the border and everything that surrounds it is so politicized that, and it seems to me like institutions like ICE, right? Institutions like Customs and Border Patrol, and local sheriffs are so sort of propagandized. It's almost become a cult of like, they're all trying to get into our country. They're all trying to get into our country and we gotta stop them. And look at these people that are near the border. I know how to stop them. I've got my firearm, and I killed that kid. Probably that was a bad idea. What do I say? Self-defense. Yeah, that's what I was scared for my life.
It's literally the Israeli defense,
right? And the police use that domestically here in the United States too. Like, I don't know why we are paying people for the job of serving and protecting the public and arming them with weapons, and then allowing them to just claim that they feared for their life, like they don't understand what line of work they're in, and making that justification for murdering people. That's not cool. Like, and so the other thing this article notes is it's almost laughable that this is still a situation. The number of people crossing the border into the United States from our southern border between 1980 and the mid-2000s was between 1 and 1.6 million a year. Today, that number is less than 500,000, less than 500,000 people. Like, the number of people coming into America is declining. You know what? Maybe that argument of like, they all want to come here because of our freedoms. They all want to come here because we're this great shining city on a hill. It's like, you know what? That opinion appears to be changing. Maybe America is not so great anymore for people coming here. Maybe that's not the thing. And maybe giving officers impunity for murdering people across the border might be in violation of international law, and it certainly is in violation of any ethical human being's calculus on how one should comport themselves in the reality we live in. That's not how you behave. You don't kill people because they look different than you and they're across a border. That's insane. This is unethical. It's immoral. This ruling should not have taken place. It's entirely partisan, and this is what makes me mad. This makes me mad. This is legalizing murder because someone has a badge on. That ain't cool.
So I was going to say that, like, why doesn't Mexico return the favor? I mean, it's like, if this is basically how you start escalations into war. I mean, this is, you have this one case where this happens one time. Now that the Supreme Court has decided how laws in Mexico should work, because that's a thing that we're able to do now, apparently. Now you're going to have officers go, well, I guess I can just keep doing this because it's now court. Now you know that there's going to be a dissemination of this information. Every border agent's going to go, oh, wonderful. Now I know what I can do. Now I know my capabilities. And they're going to start because already they know when where people are coming in. They usually have a little bit of warning system set up. Now they're not going to go, warning, come through. They're just going to go, we're just going to start shooting at them. Then what happens when that starts happening is you're going to have, it's not going to be everyone. It's not going to be all the border agents, but you're going to have a few quote-unquote bad apples. I always point out when police always say it, just a few bad apples. They never finish the full phrase, which is why they spoil the bunch. They're going to start shooting people. So we're going to see more of this because it's now put in law because a few people are going to go away with it. Because if we go back to when we were talking about when they were even filling positions for the border, they were like, anyone. We don't care if you have a criminal record. We don't care. We need a body. Come on. We just need a body right here, right now. So those people are going to start shooting. That's going to, of course, turn out really bad. And then Mexico is going to start getting upset. Then you're going to have people that are going to start bringing guns. And that's how escalations happen. This is exactly how you escalate the war. And because of this one court case, we are now on a path that was somewhat reasonable, which is insane, of escalation that could lead to war with Mexico. Wonderful. Good job.
So the whole idea of the United States, or at least the story we've been told, is that you come to this country and you start your own life. You are free of any bonds of loyalty or lordship or none of this stuff. You are your own person, and we judge you by your character, not who your family was, not what kind of social background you're from. That's a story that's been told for a very long time about coming to the United States. And now let's look at what's really being told. We don't want anyone here, apparently. That's a story. I mean, but the thing is that look at what we're denying ourselves. We're denying ourselves the next entrepreneurs, engineers, scientists, politicians, people who can fight for a better future, who could bring in a better future. In fact, if you look at U.S. history, a lot of the greatest inventors and people who actually made big changes in this country were from other countries who immigrated here, started a new life here because this country offered them something that their other country couldn't offer them. But now it's been switched. And now let's talk about this kid who's just been murdered, because he was murdered.
10 years ago, though.
Yeah, but it's important because it was murder nonetheless.
Right. Sergio
we don't-
Hernandez is his name.
We don't know what he could have offered. We don't know what he could have contributed. Why is it now that we're not even holding, even to this day, our law enforcement accountable? I mean, everything needs to be changed in this country. How we handle ourselves, how we conduct ourselves, and what the hell we're doing at the border. I can't predict the future. And I say this, sorry, I keep saying this. I can't predict the future, and I'm probably wrong on this. But someday, the United States, we as a country, will need help. We're going to need help one day. We're going to be impacted by a disaster or something bad. And the rest of the international community might be hesitant to help us out after so many years of this country abusing them and their people.
Just one final note on this, and that is America's new slogan should be, "Land of the free, home of the brave, but if you come here, we'll kill you."